She screamed it wasn't my business where she went, so I stopped making her my business.
It's not your business where I go. She didn't just say it. She shouted it, loud enough that the words bounced off the kitchen walls and startled even her. The accusation in her voice felt so misplaced. I was just standing there, holding my keys, not angry, just confused. We'd been married long enough that a simple question didn't used to feel like an interrogation. There was a time when knowing where the other person was felt natural, even comforting. But somewhere along the line, that had changed, and I hadn't noticed when I didn't argue. I didn't match her volume. I just nodded and stepped aside so she could grab her coat. She stormed past me, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the picture frames. A moment later, her car roared out of the driveway like she was fleeing a crime scene. The house went quiet. I sat down on the edge of the couch and replayed the moment in my head. Not the words themselves, but the certainty behind them. That wasn't just frustration. That was practiced defensiveness. You don't scream about boundaries unless you're hiding something behind them. I hadn't suspected cheating until that night. Distance, yes. Coldness sometimes, but betrayal? I hadn't let my mind go that far. Still, once the thought was there, it wouldn't leave. It started connecting dots I'd ignored for months, the late nights, the sudden need for privacy, her phone never leaving her hand always face down, the way she'd smile at messages but frown at me. I didn't go looking for proof right away. I waited. I needed to know if this was real or just paranoia trying to protect my pride. That night, she didn't come home until after midnight. She smelled like an unfamiliar cologne mixed with her perfume. She avoided my eyes, went straight to the bathroom, and locked the door. When she finally climbed into bed, she turned her back to me and pretended to sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, realizing something important. Even if there wasn't someone else, the marriage I thought I was in no longer existed. Respect doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes, and I had been walking on crumbling edges for a long time. The confirmation came a few days later, quietly and without drama. A shared email account we'd both forgotten about pinged with a reservation confirmation. Hotel, 2 guests, a weekday. Her name and someone else's, not a colleague, not a friend I knew. A man whose number I later found saved under a false name. I didn't confront her. Instead, I just paid attention. I watched how easily she lied. How smoothly she shifted blame. How quickly irritation replaced any affection. It was like seeing a stranger wearing my wife's face. Once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. That night, she came home late again. I calmly asked if we needed to talk. She exploded. "You're so controlling," she shouted. "You don't own me." "I don't owe you explanations." That was when I understood it clearly for the first time. She wasn't reacting to my questions. She was reacting to her own guilt, and guilt always looks for someone else to blame. I went to bed early not because I was tired, but because I was done participating in the performance. While she paced the house, making angry phone calls, I made my decision. I didn't leave that night. I waited until morning. When she left for work, I stayed behind and packed, calmly. I took what was mine, documents, clothes, personal items. I didn't rush. I didn't destroy anything or leave a note full of accusations. I simply removed myself from a place where I was no longer respected. By noon, I was gone. She didn't notice immediately. That was the most telling part. It took hours before the realization hit. Then the calls came, first angry, then panicked. She demanded to know where I was, accusing me of abandoning her, of being dramatic, of trying to punish her. I answered just once. "I asked where you were going," I said quietly. "You told me it wasn't my business, so I listened." There was silence on the other end of the line. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just hung up. The aftermath unfolded exactly as you'd expect when someone loses control of a narrative they thought they owned. She told people I was unstable. Then she said I left without any warning. But eventually the truth surfaced on its own. It always does. Lies require maintenance. The truth doesn't. The man she defended so fiercely didn't stay. He never planned to. When her world shrank, so did his interest. That wasn't my satisfaction to enjoy. It was simply a consequence. My life, on the other hand, grew quieter in a good way. I moved into a small place that felt like mine. I slept without tension. I laughed without wondering who was watching. Months later, she asked if we could talk. I agreed. Not because I wanted her back, but because I wanted closure without bitterness. She cried. She apologized. Said she hadn't realized how far things had gone until it was too late. I believed her. But belief doesn't equal reconciliation.